welcome to episode 1 of season 7.
Season fucking 7.
How exciting. How exciting is this? This episode is actually genuinely really exciting because one of these shows is, for my money, the best pilot we've done. There's not often you say that.
I know. Are you sure?
Said it
Are you
twice.
sure it's better than Entourage?
Oh yeah, I didn't really think about that, did I? Of course not. Of course it's not.
Good. I think we had almost as much to say about Entourage as we might have to say about this in the future.
When we do this in a second.
Yep.
Yeah, what we're doing today. Black Spot and Marianne. Black Spot, which French title is Zone Blanche, which means white zone. So, sure. We have a website. It is copilotspodcast.co.uk. We have a Twitter. We have an Instagram. The Twitter is @RealCopilots. Instagram, The Real Co-Pilots Podcast. If you look back to the 15th of November, you will see a post which may give away which show I thought, for my money, is the best one we've ever done.
But yeah, it's the start of foreign year.
Yeah, we're doing, you're a keen xenophobe and racist, so we have a section that you have dubbed Foreign Muck for this year. So this is the start of our international TV spots.
I know, it's amazing that we just forgot that the rest of the world also made telly.
Yeah, for 6 years.
No, we've accidentally stumbled across foreign shows before.
A particular highlight would be the lost episode of Spider-Man.
That is a real highlight. I quite often ask people if they've seen the Japanese Spider-Man, and they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, imagine Power Rangers, but Spider-Man.
but he's a Spider-Man.
And they just go, "That sounds ridiculous." And I'm like, "It's canon."
Something that I have just realised is at the point where this episode is released, we will have seen the new Spider-Man, which I think it's the most excited I've been about a Marvel film for a very long time.
Ooh, should we just do weird predictions? Because we got Endgame right before Endgame came out.
Did we get Endgame right?
No, we got Infinity War right. We were talking about Infinity War, and we just offhand just went, I can't believe they killed Spider-Man. And then we're like,
oh yeah,
they wouldn't kill Spider-Man, that would be ridiculous. They've only just introduced him. Oh fuck, they killed Spider-Man.
He did. Okay. I think we might see Uncle Ben for the first time.
Which one? We might see. If it.
I'm pretty sure the Tobey Maguire Uncle Ben is dead, so probably not him. Maybe Martin
could you imagine if it, rather than like the thing that we praised the Spider-Man films for this time is just being like, Uncle Ben's dead. You know that. We're not going to show you. Can you imagine if now they just went, here's all 3 deaths.
Oh no, that'd be horrible. But I kind of want to see it now.
Do you know, if they do pull in all of these other versions of Spider-Man, do you hope we get to see a live-action Miles Morales?
I mean, that'd be cool.
From I'm specifically thinking of like the Into the Spider-Verse version.
The Spider-Verse one. Oh, that would be really cool.
Would be really cool, but then I don't know if
I don't know who has that. No, I don't know who has that. I don't know if that's a Sony thing or
it's a definite Sony thing.
I don't know, because they've kind of got a USP with that, haven't they? Because Spider-Verse was so good and so well loved that I don't think they'd want to give that up quite so easy.
Yeah, but maybe just a live action version, because they've already set up his uncle. But more importantly, spooky stuff that we're talking about.
Oh yes, give me a big old spooky. Well, after 7 years, we finally fucked around with some audio settings, and it went really wrong.
It's been a thrilling hour.
We have been trying to do this for quite a while now, but season 7,
It's happening. It's real.
It's begun, and it's the series that you like to call Foreign Muck.
I really think that you coined that term first in relation to the podcast.
Yeah, don't think so. Because of the two of us, I also have heritage from overseas. You're just over a wall, mate. So
Wasn't even that good a wall.
no, it's tiny.
Tiny, very easy to get over, but Celts had very little interest in England because.
Why would you want it?
Exactly. You don't even have the biggest hill.
That's a point. Arthur's Seat, right? Is it a hill? Is it a small mountain? When does a hill become a mountain? When does a knoll become a hill? When does a mound become a knoll?
I wasn't talking about. I was talking about Ben Nevis. You know,
I get that,
mountain.
but I was thinking the one that was in your city. I think.
I think it. I don't know. Yeah, it's a hill. Yeah.
So Arthur's Seat is a hill, right? So
Yeah,
when does a hill?
big fucking hill, but it's a hill.
When does a hill become a mountain? Many geographers state the mountain is greater than 300 meters above sea level, so 1,000 feet. Okay. Well, that's great for many geographers, but what makes a mountain not a hill?
I guess maybe you would just measure it in like how long it takes you to get up it.
I don't think that's an accurate measure at all, because by that logic,
I don't know.
stairs
No, I don't.
count
I don't.
as a mountain.
I don't mean you specifically. I mean,
Yeah, I got a
average.
wooden carpeted hill in my house.
what would you describe as a mountain? Anything that takes me more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have some spooky French shit. And by spooky, Jesus fucking Christ, I think we should start with Black Spot, because let's be fair, get it out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
because Black Spot, it wasn't scary because it's just, as far as I can tell, humans doing human shit, and it's just a bit weird.
Yeah, I think. Although saying that, looking at this, it is described as a French-Belgian supernatural thriller, and thus far in the pilot, there's not much supernatural going on. There's an air of something weird happening, but at the minute, it's not been overtly supernatural.
The link between Coma Boy and the box in the woods.
Yes. Well, and the suggestion that actually Boy in a coma has been knocking about in the woods, but we'll get to that. So this is something that we've just very quickly discussed. The show's called Black Spot in English. In French, it's Zone Blanche, which literally means white zone. So it's black spot, white zone. But I think it just refers to somewhere with no like phone signal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do really like this actually. It very overtly is like, oh, we really like Twin Peaks. There's a lot of stuff that's Twin Peaksy in this. Not in so much as it's being weird, but like the fact that there's a sawmill and the fact that it's got, you know, mountains and woods and stuff. So, what did you think of the very first scene? Because I thought it was just fucking weird.
The thing
He shows up and then you hear a little buzz and then he's paralysed. I was just like, I wasn't buying that it was a being an anaphylactic shock that knocked him down.
So that's the thing. I thought it was more than it was. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect setting for a town with a lot of murders for the first guy you meet to just be murdered.
That's where I thought it was going.
So I thought it was going to be like, oh, it was just a little bug, and then it's like, it pulls out and he's like, what's this bounty hunter's dart I found? I have to go to Coruscant to get it identified. Especially because later on you see people in the woods with like bows and stuff, and I was like, this has the potential to just be a straight up like, we release people into the woods and hunt them down and kill them. Which would have been cool, but like not spooky enough. for January.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, obviously. How was your New Year?
Oh, I'm sure it was great.
Yep.
From what I remember, poor blinder.
But hey, 2022 looks a bit better than 2021, doesn't it?
Dunno.
What if something really awful happens on New Year's Eve and then this goes out? We're like, oh yeah, no, it's all fine.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is interesting for a town to have 6 times like the average murder rate. That was.
Well, that is the plot of Hot Fuzz.
Because they're just this, everything's fine here. You have a lot of murders. Like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that did make me laugh. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty quiet. It's like, why is your murder like 3 times? It's fine. Well, I don't think it is. I really like the team, like the police team. They're very likeable. Something that did confuse me is there's a guy called Nonos.
Teddy bear.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Is that I don't know what I meant to look this up. Like, what does Nonos refer to? I guess it is just teddy bear because it come up. Like she said, Nonos. And yeah, there you go. And then sometimes come teddy bear. What the fuck is it called, teddy bear?
I assumed it was just a nickname.
But he's cool. I like him. He's fun. Frank Sirianni is kind of weird, but he keeps getting beaten up and like bashed about a bit, which is quite fun.
Well, I guess he's playing that role that you see quite a lot, especially in pilots, where someone new's come to town, so that everything has to be explained.
Well, I think it kind of does that, but then I think we see a lot through Lauren's eyes as well. Lorraine,
yeah,
I should say.
But then you have to, because she's busy off doing all the interesting stuff. New boy in town's just doing fucking paperwork.
To be fair, I could do without him. Like, if it was just about Lauren, like maybe he'll have a bit more to do when it comes to later episodes and stuff. But he's kind of like the Kyle MacLachlan character in Twin Peaks. But it's weird because like it really reminded me of Twin Peaks, but it's nowhere as fucking weird as Twin Peaks is just yet. Although the constant there's someone, we're not sure who it is to start off with, but there is someone who is having a flashback to being chained to a rock, and it's only towards the end of the episode that you realise, it's Lorraine, and that's why she's missing some fingers, because she cut them off to escape.
Honestly, did you notice that she was missing fingers until it was pointed out?
Yes.
I had not clocked that in any way. When he pointed out, I was like, what in the fuck has happened in the last 2 minutes?
they run out of budget when they come stumbling back into the bar. Oh geez, Lauren, that was a terrible accident down the sawmill. I really enjoyed all the sawmill bits, like when they're chaining themselves to the bits and pieces so they can't be moved and stuff. That was fun. It reminded me of the people who glued themselves to the road a little earlier this year.
Yeah.
Last year, sorry.
No, the roads this year as well. It was people who glued themselves to trains last year, or the year before.
Oh yeah.
Which was great because it was an electric train.
Nice one. So it's not until there is a character who has a very, very shady past. We mentioned before, I can't remember how he ended up in a coma, but he's basically just in his parents' living room, hooked up to a machine, and every now and then he has seizures and stuff.
He tried to commit suicide. That's why he's in a coma.
That's right. Oh, right. He tried to commit suicide, and that's the tree that he tried to do it at is where they find another body, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's got the infinity symbol carved into it.
Which someone keeps saying, oh, that's a pair of glasses, and I cannot wait for the revelation where everyone's like, no, fuck off, it's the infinity symbol. I can't wait for the bit where they find a cartoon where someone is wearing that as a pair of glasses, and he goes, "See, I fucking told you." But the suggestion that something really odd is going on is when they found mud on his hands and his feet, and then right at the end of the episode, he's just out on the lawn. And his mum's dragged him out there, and she says, "Oh, it's not the medicine; it's the soil that's going to keep him alive."
Yeah, but then he dies
And I
there in
was
the
like,
episode anyway. So
yeah, well done. But that was really odd.
that was odd, but I think that's a suggestion that there's something more afoot. But it's like it's hinting at it rather than being like overtly. Like, hey, look, here's some spooky ghost stuff.
And I do wonder, because it's so heavy-handed in like referencing Twin Peaks, like, is it going to be overtly, oh no, yeah, this is scary shit, or is it just gonna sort of mention it but not really explore it in the way that Twin Peaks does? Although it does saying that, Twin Peaks does get pretty spooky actually, so I don't know. I gotta be honest, this didn't grab me as much as I hoped it would, because this has been on my list for a little while, and then I realised it was French and knew we were doing foreign shows for this series. I was like, well, definitely save it for then.
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to see where it goes, but I wouldn't want to commit myself to watching all of it, because it would very much be like see where it goes if like the next couple of episodes are like, oh Jesus, that's interesting, then cool.
I think it's going to take some really big revelation for me to be like, oh fuck, this is why I need to carry on watching this. It is only 16 episodes though, which is real nice.
Yeah,
I mean
that's well within my weekend. But it's very much like, if it goes very quickly from the thing, I don't know what I want out of it really. I don't know if I want it to just be like this sort of slow pace murder, missing people investigation-y stuff that just happens to be supernatural, or if I just want them to go hell for leather and just have some like cult controlling the town.
That's where I kind of feel like it might be heading, is the sort of the folk horror sort of tropes. There's the sort of the thinking behind folk horror is that there is old evil that outdates the people who live in the place where it is, where it's set, and like the soil is evil, and that I'm starting to kind of get the way that they shoot. Like there's a persistent shot. They keep showing the same recurring shot of someone who goes up to, I'm not sure what type of tree it is, but they look up the trunk of the tree, and the camera pans up and you're looking straight at the canopy, but there's like those really short branches that like splinter off like all the way up the trunk, and it just looks really menacing. And the way they shoot the body when they find her, and like you don't really see her face, and her hair's all sort of lank and all in front of her face and things, it's really in keeping with sort of folk horror iconography and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird
Plus
that the state of that body to only have been like 10 hours old.
Yeah, when he said, "Oh, you know, it's quite recent," I was looking at it, it's like, fuck off, is it?
Yeah, I know a lot about dead bodies.
God knows I've made love to a few. So, but I did, speaking, like, the more we've been speaking about it now, actually, the more I'm like, do you know what? I did enjoy that more than I thought.
I think it's one of those ones that you need to have like a few people watching it and talking about it for it to be.
Yeah, I think that would help. Like if we did for Dracula, like you came down and we watched it. Like if we did that with this, I definitely think it would be like something we could get hooked into for a day, because it's only 8 episodes, so we could just, you know, have some food and just get through the whole series in a day. That would be cool.
I'm on my way.
Well, you can do it on your new big bike soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I think you could probably level that at any TV show though. If you're watching it with a bunch of mates and you've got people to discuss it with, it makes it eminently more enjoyable. It's like our neighbour night. So we have some friends that we see every Monday, and we watch a TV show. And at the minute we're watching season 3 of You, and season 2 I fucking hated. But this one I'm actually enjoying a lot more because one, I think it's just that they've done it better. But two, it's the playing along with the game of like, oh fuck, what's going on here? Who's he killing now? What are they going to do with this one? And that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like you could build a podcast on that sort of discussion of TV shows.
Yeah, I think it's like the Breaking Bad effect as well. Like when everyone was watching it and everyone was talking about it, it was interesting. It's interesting to speculate.
Zeitgeisty.
Yeah.
I suppose here's the weird thing about Breaking Bad is it wasn't till like season 5 that it got huge over here.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because I think I got into it around season 4 was done or had just finished. That's when I was watching it, and then we watched the finale at the uni house.
I had to wait for season 5 to start when I caught up.
I think I did, but not for long.
Yeah, I think we must. I think you suggested it to me, and I'm just better at watching TV than you are. I watch with gusto.
Yeah. So speaking of being really good at watching stuff at the same time, or at least texting about it. What I think we're going to do is when this goes out, we're going to have to put a screenshot up of the text that we had when we were discussing Marianne, or to put my little French spin on it, Marianne. Right. Okay. So
is this the one? Yeah, that's the where you sent me a text.
So fucking good.
So you watched it.
The best series of messages we've ever had between us.
Yeah, because you were watching it at what, like 6 o'clock in the evening?
Yeah, we watched it. Yeah, because we watched Marianne and then we started Black Spot and didn't finish it because we were just too knackered. So yeah, it must have been about 6-7 o'clock that we watched it, and then I went to bed at 8:30.
Like the cool young person that you are.
I'd been at a wedding and I was fucking exhausted. so yeah, and then 48 minutes past midnight.
Yeah.
Having gone to bed at 8:30, I sent you a text that says, I told everybody at work this, and my boss called me an idiot for watching something that terrified me this much.
Did you tell them what time I watched it?
This is the thing. That's why. Like, I showed them the text because they were within a minute of each other. Yeah. So, I'd sent this to you at 10-1 this morning. Just a quick sit rep. I went to bed at 8. Had a good few hours sleep. And now I'm having to watch a Simpsons episode to try and calm my brain down because I'm so freaked out by Marianne that I can't sleep. And then you replied.
I did reply with... oh god, I need to find it. I'm really glad you told me that. And then I sent a picture of me watching it with the caption, while I'm fucking watching it.
Oh, but then this was amazing when you said, unless the last 15 minutes are horrific, I'll be okay. 15 minutes later, that might have been a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Right, let's get into this. If Marianne is not in my top 5 for this year, we've had a really, really good year of shows.
Genuinely,
but
as much as I like it, I hope that it's not in your top 5 so that we've had a really good year of shows.
That's what I mean. Like, if it's not, then fucking hell, what a great year. Because Marianne, it's one of the best pilots we've ever watched, and it's one of the most affecting pilots we've ever watched because it fucking terrified me. and I watch a lot of horror. I don't really get scared by much. I was talking to people at work about this, and I think pretty much there's one thing every year of all the horror I watch, and I watch a fucking lot of horror. There's one thing that gets under my skin, and this is definitely it for this year. Last year it was St. Maud. That really did creep me out. And then in previous years, like Hereditary fucking scared me as well.
Is it creepy old women? Is that what does it for you?
Do you know what? I think because I told you and Jack, we met up a couple of weeks ago, and I told you the story about, when I watched The Woman in Black. I'm sure I've mentioned The Woman in Black on here before.
I don't think so, because that was the first time I'd heard you talk about it. I didn't, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just don't care.
Yeah, it could be that. It really could.
It could definitely be that. But
well, basically, just like very quickly, when I was year 8, so I was 13, we studied the book The Woman in Black for English, and then at the end of term, so the book scared me, and then at the end of term, my teacher brought in a DVD, and he's like, I have never, ever sat down with a class and watched a video on the last day of term. We're going to fucking do it today. I don't think he said fucking.
You'd hope not.
he had a copy of not the Daniel Craig, not the Daniel Radcliffe one, but the 1989 BBC TV. Was it BBC TV? It might. I have the Blu-ray. I'm just.
Also, you were young, but you weren't in year 8 in 2017.
No, exactly. So yeah, then we watched the Woman in Black, and there's a spooky scene where she just appears over the bed and just screaming into the camera, and I had nightmares for 6 months, and I still occasionally I'll be like just wandering about the kitchen in the middle of the night just getting a drink or whatever, and occasionally she'll just pop into my head like, oh, I'm fucking over here, you watch yourself.
Have you considered turning that into a series of novels?
That's a good idea. There's a few quid in there, I imagine.
I imagine so. I mean, it could even launch a French spooky show.
a French horror show. Anyway, so Marianne, I think, owes a great debt to Stephen King. Mainly because it stars, its main character is a horror author, but it opens with a very emaciated and stressed woman hearing a weird noise from a kitchen. She goes to investigate, and she finds her mum in the kitchen, and this actress, I don't know who she is. Hang on, here we go. Mireille Herbstmeyer. So I'm guessing
you butchered that surname.
Well, Herbstmeyer. That's not a French name. Herbstmeyer. That's more German, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying you pronounced the forename.
You can tell which languages I can speak.
And then butchered the surname, and it was more jarring because you tried so hard.
So, if you just Google Marianne, Netflix, that woman who comes up with that smile, she is at the sink, and she's talking.
She is nightmare fuel.
She is fucking hell. Yes, she is. She is jabbering away at the sink. She turns around and she pulls out her own tooth. Oh God, I'm just remembering all the horrible bits that kept me up last night now. So,
do you know what's bad is that we're actively reminding ourselves of what happened in a show that made both of us not sleep great.
So she takes out her tooth. It then cuts to, we see Emma, who is our protagonist. She's the horror author. She says, I'm done with it, that's it. She's had this really good commercial success with this character, this long running character called Lizzie Lark, and she goes, nah, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, because she was doing a reading, and everyone was like, you've just read us the end, and she's like, yup.
So at the book signing, the lady, I can't remember her name.
Caroline,
Carol, that's it, isn't it? She is a childhood friend of Emma's, isn't she? And she says, right, basically,
my mum's gone mental.
My mum has been possessed, right? And is it this point where she tells her the story about how her mum used to just stand behind the door watching her sleep?
She does, but she's asking questions first, like, "Oh, do you remember how we used to be friends? You used to tell us all these stories about all this mental shit, and then you started writing them down, and now my mum, rips out her own teeth and stuff. So if you could come home great. And just make that stop,
that would be smashing. Thank you. Oh fuck me, it's horrible. But yeah, so she recounts the story of how like her mum would stand and watch her, and she said, I closed my eyes once, and then it cuts to her like leaning over, and then she did this to me. She pulls her top up and she's been carved to shit, all these weird symbols on her back. It was fucking horrible. So Emma's like, cheers, laters.
Oh no, because she gets given the like little witch pouch,
the bag
that's I think skin with a tooth in it.
Yeah, isn't there something else as well? Is there like a rabbit's foot in it or something? Anyway,
or maybe like hair or something.
Oh, that's it. There's hair in it. That's definitely it. And then, oh fuck me, it's horrific. This bit really fucked me up. Is the nightmare. So then, after that night, yeah. So she goes out and gets on the piss. Comes back home, finds a note from her. Is it her boyfriend or husband?
Boyfriend, fiance, something.
Chap, significant other. And he's like, you went out and got drunk, you stood me up, I'm in bed, fuck you, see you later. She gets in bed and has a nightmare about Marianne, who is a character from her novels, who is a witch and the wife of a demon. And this is one of the bits that properly fucked me up. Was she has a nightmare where she looks at the end of the bed and she sees something moving at the end of the bed, and everybody knows that you can't do that in horror. It's not allowed, because the under the covers is the one safe space we have. You can't fucking do that. So then hand reaches up out from under the bed, and oh god, this bit, like when she goes donne-moi ton pied, which means give me your foot. It's just like, oh, because that's the worst thing you could imagine when you're a kid in bed, is someone pulling you by the foot out of bed, isn't it? But then, and I did guess this was coming, but it didn't make it any easier. What is that in the background? Have you got a train going past you? That was terrifying. It sounded like someone screaming. So she wakes from that nightmare, and I did guess this was happening. She's in a double nightmare. It's like Inception. And she says to Pierre, "Oh, I've had a nightmare. Could you, like, come here?" And he goes, "You want me to turn over?" And she's like, "Yeah. Can you?" He's like, "Okay, I'm going to turn over." And that's when I was like, "Oh, his face is going to be all fucked up." And yeah, he's all demony, and then Marianne appears floating over. So it was just all fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was the you wake up when I tell you wake up, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah. Oh fuck me. And it's there that Marianne starts saying you've got to keep writing. Is it this point? Yeah. So then Caroline shows up at Emma's work.
Yeah, and I have to.
And as soon as you see her, you're like, "Oh fuck, I know where this is going."
Well, that's the thing. As soon as, like, I sort of at this point was like, "This must be like nearly halfway through," and I was like, "No, that's like the first 15 minutes of the show."
Yeah, it's fucking intense.
And then as soon as you see her, you're like, "Well, it's an awfully big expanse in the middle of that building there. Oh, it'd be a shame if someone were to have a long rope and hang themselves in it." Oh. That
was a bit where this is the other thing, is there are a couple of bits in the show which is quite funny, and I genuinely thought when she climbed over the handrail, I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna jump, and then she pulls out this fucking great rope.
Yeah.
I just went to Lisa, how'd she get that past security?
Because it's not like it's not a short length of rope.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she's nicked it off a tool shed.
Yeah. So it's weird.
So,
but what I quite like is it's not trying to hide like the tropey moments. Like a moment like that where they're having a conversation across a vast distance can somehow still fucking hear each other. But But also, she's much higher up, so you know that. And at no point does anyone go, "Ooh, while we're having this chat, should we send someone up there?"
Yeah.
Or is there not anyone else on that fucking floor? Like, because she comes in and she goes, "Oh, your friend's waiting for you," and it's like, yeah, so she'd be waiting near roughly where I would be, surely. And she's just Emma from like 200-300 meters away, just like, "I'm up here. This is where I thought you might be."
Oh yeah, Emma, there's someone looking for you. Oh yeah, we're upstairs. They gone in the lift? Nope. Dragging this fucking great rope up the stairs.
"Oh yeah, Emma, there's someone here to see you. Yeah, where is she?" "Oh, they're on the roof." Don't know why, but they haven't brought a parachute.
But Jesus Christ, you need one for that building.
It's a big building for like
indoor base jump.
Because it's a publishing company or a publicist's company or something.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I guess it's the implication that she's doing rather well for herself. That she's got this big company around her.
So Emma and Camille, who's her assistant, who's lovely. They go back to her hometown, which is called Eldon. And on the way there, Emma says, "Oh right, so the one thing that Marianne cannot lie about is her name. Like, she can evade the question, like she can skirt around it. She can't lie about who she is."
Which I think is
there's a few touches that I'm. When they're said on paper, I was like, okay, I like that is. It's not. I'm really struggling with what it is I'm trying to say. It doesn't sound as scary as it is. Do you know what I mean? And then the show does it in a way that is the most terrifying way it could do it. So then, and case in point, with this is something that's been percolating in my head for this whole day, is that because it's in French, and despite the fact that I can get by with French, like I can speak a little bit of it and understand more than I can say. Even that, it's one step removed from a horror show that would be in English. So there's a barrier of interpretation there. But
you'll always recognise the names.
That's true. But then factor in that occasionally the show just drops in a couple of frames of something that you just in the scene where she's describing who Marianne is in the car. There's just a flash of something that you can't quite make out what it is, but you know it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then it just goes back to the scene, and it's like, it really made me feel like this show, while on paper sounds like, quite a basic horror story, it seems to be leaning towards the stuff that she's written has come to life, which is not the most original idea, but the way it does it is in such a way that while I was watching it, and this is something that I haven't felt since St. Maud, is you cannot trust this show, like, because it's presenting these things to you in such a bizarre way, like just flashing up just someone with a hood over their eyes, and there's another one just flashing up, there's a symbol, and we were just like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, did you go and try to work out what they were?
No, because I was like, I don't want to know until it tells me what it is, until it shows me, right, okay, so this is what you've been seeing this whole time.
I wonder if it might pull like a double twist on us at some point, and this is
her writing.
This is something that someone else is writing, so we're seeing like some Inception fucking version of it, where she's writing this kind of tropey, obvious thing, but she's being like controlled and made to write it, or maybe Marianne's writing the fucking story.
Yeah. Oh man. This is why I'm really taking my time over talking about this, because I love every single thing of it.
I think half the time you'll remind me of something that happens, then I'll just get goosebumps. I'm like, oh, good. That's
yeah.
At
least I've got Lise here.
I've got a fucking sword.
Yeah, come at me, I'll knock your other fucking teeth out, bitch. So then you have the bit with the priest who just appears at the lighthouse. And I was talking to Lisa about this while we were watching it. Lighthouses are inherently fucking creepy, and I do not understand why. I don't know what it is about lighthouses, but they are really fucking scary.
A lighthouse, I find a lighthouse that's on land is fine, but it's the ones that are out at sea and are only accessible by like a boat.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that something weird could happen there and you would not know.
Have you seen the Robert Eggers film, The Lighthouse? It came out a couple of years ago. It's Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
I haven't, because...
You should do. It's fucking bonkers.
Mostly because I have this inherent distrust of lighthouses. Because all they have to do is decide one day, I hate boats, turn the light off. They could just...
Oh, yeah. So, yes, so she's on the pier looking at the lighthouse, which is terrifying. The priest just appears behind her, and she refers to him as the priest. So it's like they have previous, I think. It's like Emma knows who this guy is. Then,
yeah, and also he's a priest, so he's a bit of a cunty nonce.
Yeah.
Obviously. Goes without saying they've got previous. She's just aged out.
That's why he's angry. They go and see Caroline's mum, Madame. I don't know if it's Dogeron or Dogeron. I think it's Dogeron.
I think it's my Demigorgon.
She doesn't give a stuttering fuck about the fact that her daughter's just killed herself. But so they go in and have this I'm really struggling. I think we'll come back to this. I'll ask you when we get to the end of talking about the episode what I was about to say. But this is one of the scariest parts. She seems to know stuff about Emma's past and her writing and stuff. She has hundreds of copies of Emma's books, and Emma's at this point is still like, she's just a weird old woman. She's like, oh, do you want me to sign one for you? And this bit, give me. I've just got goosebumps just thinking about it. She says, okay, who am I signing it to? And she looks up and she says, oh, Marianne. That'd be perfect. And it's just so beautifully done, because you're like, is she saying this because she loves the book so much that she thinks, oh, I'll get a weird kick out of it? Or is she legit
unable to lie about it?
Marianne? Yeah. It's so well done, because there's just a little pause, like the camera holds on Dogeron and she's, oh yeah, Marianne, and there's just a beat where it should cut back to her going, huh? And it just doesn't for ages. Then it cuts back to Emma and then she's like, okay. Oh man.
And then she pisses herself.
Spooky. Yeah, like The Exorcist. So they're like, okay, we're off.
I think rightly.
Yeah, probably time to go. And then we come to one of my favourite bits of the whole show, and I did kind of guess that this would be the case, because we've just had quite a big scare. Emma then goes back to her parents' house, and it's shot as if she is creeping through the house looking for them, because that's right. Because Dogeron has said, I visited your parents.
Yeah.
So they go to her parents' place, and Emma's sort of skulking through the house, and then she can hear.
And there's the weird tooth bag on the door there as well.
Another one. She goes up the stairs, and then she just sees her parents shagging on the landing. I was like, why are they doing it on the landing? But it really did make me laugh. Like, that's what I mean. Like, there are a couple of really funny bits.
Yeah, well, I think you need to break that tension, otherwise you will break your viewer. It just
shows that the line between comedy and horror is so fucking thin. Because what is it? It's the scare or the laugh is the punchline, and the tension building beforehand is like it's leading you to think, okay, well, here's the setup, here's the punchline, and a jump scare is the same as trying to make someone laugh. It's just instead of laughing, you scream.
Yeah, jump scares are easier.
So then there's a very tense conversation around the dinner table where her father he says something along the lines of, "You haven't even apologised. You should ask us for forgiveness." And so what the fuck has she done?
After she gives the priest shit for like not forgiving her, and she's like, "Isn't that part of his fucking job?" And it's like, you are correct, lady.
And then this now takes us into another really fucking horrible part. Is Camille, her assistant, is sleeping in her bed, and she gets up, goes to the loo.
So when she wakes up, I like this, she just goes, shit.
Because that is exactly what I would be like, oh, fucking bollocks.
Yeah, it's awful when you wake up somewhere unfamiliar, and you're like, I need a wee. But it'd be worse also, if you're somewhere that something weird has already happened that day.
Several weird things have already happened. So then Camille, oh god, this is awful. She goes to the toilet and she's in this tiny little bathroom, and then there's footsteps outside the door and someone tries to get in. And this is something that I remember Billy Connolly saying, that like, as soon as you're in a toilet, you forget your identity, because if someone knocks at the door, you don't say, "Oh, it's me, I'm in here." You say, "There's somebody in here." So she goes, "Oh yeah, someone's already in here." Footsteps disappear. She comes out the toilet. She's looking, and it throws you again, because it shows you a shot of the entrance hall, and it holds on it for so much longer than it needs to, and then it cuts away back to Camille. I think like still staring.
I think as she was walking to the bathroom, you get the same shot as well.
Yeah.
So she's walking, you get this long hold on the lobby, and you're like, someone's going to walk past, obviously, because that's what happens.
And they don't.
And you're like, oh, it's fine.
Oh, Jesus.
And then you've sat with her in the bathroom, knowing that there was someone outside the door. Yep. And then she walks out. You see the same shot again. Nothing. But then she keeps looking.
For ages.
So then you get the shot for the third time. And then you see the mum walk through.
Again, naked. I think most of her screen time she's actually not wearing anything.
Well, in the, I think, 4 or 5 scenes she's in, she's dressed for one of them.
And then she does, like, I was surprised with how creepy I found this, but her mum walks out of shot and then walks back into shot up to the front door, and then you'll appreciate this is where Lisa really did not find this very funny at all. She just starts chucking up.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how like genuinely scary I found that, because she's properly like ugh, ugh, and all this white shit is coming out of her. Oh, it's horrible. I can't
the
remember.
Thing, my brain instantly just went, that's why she was trying to get into the bathroom.
Selfish. That's what she's walking around trying to get a bit of air.
She's walking around just trying to find somewhere to throw up, and you know, obviously next to the front door is second to the bathroom.
Is it? Oh, this is what, and then
the dad comes up the stairs.
Isn't it? So she's throwing it, and then the dad legs it up the stairs. We sort of knew that was coming, so that didn't make us jump quite so much. Slaps her like really viciously.
Look at me.
I see. What? What causes the burglar alarm to go off? Because I can't remember.
They leave.
That's what gets Emma. Oh, it's the act of them just walking out the front door.
Yeah, or whichever door. Because earlier at dinner he mentions, I put an alarm in. And you're like,
that's right.
Who gives a fuck, mate? What relevance does that have? And then it starts going off, you're like, I understand now.
It's Chekhov's alarm. So her parents leave. Emma follows them. And it's a really creepy shot of them just disappearing into the woods naked. They've got that weird writing all over them, like Caroline had as well. She follows them into the woods. It goes all green for some fucking reason.
Because that's the thing. When the dad's shouting at Camille, he's just shouting like, "This is not us," and it's like, I don't understand. What do you mean? And I was like, oh, it's Marianne, but she hasn't been here to do the writing, or has she? Or did you write on each other? Is this? Have you gone from "we'll fuck on the landing" to scarring's cool?
Give me that Sharpie.
Well, that's the thing. I assumed that it was cut rather than written.
Yeah, I think it's worse if it is scarified, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then Emma's out in the woods, and the last thing that you see in the pilot episode is her dad jumping out at her and shouting, "Write!" As in, you have to keep writing, and that's where the episode ends.
And the nightmares begin.
Well, this is the thing. It wasn't instant. It was a real slow, because I was so tired. I was like, "Oh, mate!" Like, we looked at each other like, "That was so fucking good." And they were like, "Right, let's watch a bit more. I need to go to bed." I fell asleep, and I was asleep for a good few hours. And that's when I then woke up next. That's when I was like, "Oh, fucking hell! This has gone straight into my head. This is really horrible." And I did not have a pleasant.
Yeah, and then you text me, and I was watching it.
I know, it was amazing. So, with all of that, that was probably the most in-depth summary we've done of an episode. What for you was the scariest bit? How scary did you find it? And when you say you didn't sleep well, what do you mean? Could you not sleep because of this?
I don't think it was necessarily because of it. I think it was the overthinking of some of it. It was more like it's the unanswered questions that, you know, the ones that just sort of get in your brain. You're like, but why were her parents being so weird? Because obviously it's mentioned that the woman purporting herself to be Marianne has visited them prior to Emma going home.
Yeah.
So does that mean that she was but then why weren't they super weird to start with? I mean, banging on a landing's, it's weird, but it's not like,
it's not demonic weird.
No. And then the dinner's tense, but she's been gone for like 15 years, so it would be arguably. But then what is it? And is it the fact that because Emma's back in the house, that Marianne's presence is there and makes them go bananas? And it was the fact that he's aware enough to say this is not us, but then still continues to do mad shit. And it's just like, ugh. So mine was more questions rather than fear, I think. But those niggling questions sort of like go, yeah, but spooky stuff.
So what was the scariest part of it, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily like the nightmares, because you get to see them. It's
the stuff that happens off screen.
Yeah, so there's clearly something fucked up in her past. But also, it's more like it's the monster under the bed. It's the things you don't see that get me, because my brain just goes, well, I see there's some blanks here. Let's just fill those in with something far worse than they could ever show you. But that's why I find like the original Texas Chainsaw scarier than the newer version, because the newer version is just like, hey, look, we cut off his head, and the other one's just like, here's a noise.
Yeah, the original Texas Chainsaw was like, I think a lot of people misremember it, because I think there's only one character that gets killed with a chainsaw. I don't think you see it, and there's barely any blood in it.
I think there's
scary
next
part
to none,
of Texas.
I think
The scariest parts of Texas Chainsaw the dining room scene.
Yeah, because
where
that's just...
Sally's just tied to the chair and they are just like screaming. And the bit where Leatherface first comes out, because it just comes out of nowhere, just opens that steel door, smacks the guy with a hammer, and drags him back, slams the door. Fucking terrifying.
I think for me the worst bit of that was at some point he hoists someone onto a meat hook.
Yeah.
And like, you know that generally like a meat hook probably is not going to do that much damage. But it's because you just hear this, like, you hear the noise of it, and you're like, ugh. And then because it's a horror film, your brain just goes, oh, I imagine that's poking like straight out, like through a lung. There's a lung on the end of it, and it's torn, and he's hanging off of like a bone in his shoulder or something.
Mm.
And then in the remake, they just go, yeah, right on the spine. You're like, oh, that's bad, but it's not that bad. Could be way worse.
Have you seen Bone Tomahawk?
Maybe. No, probably not.
Okay. It contains one of the like greatest kills I've ever seen in a film. But I don't know which bit I think is the scariest, because I found it all really scary, and I don't find a lot of stuff very scary.
I think
anymore.
It's hard for TV to be scary, like for an hour-long thing to build and maintain and pay off enough tension and be interesting enough to make you want to watch more of it.
That's yeah.
It's a really hard thing to fit into like an hour.
Generally speaking, I don't think horror suits long form stuff. And even this, it's only 8 episodes, but that's longer than most other horror stuff that I watch.
Yeah.
But this is done in such a bizarre way that it like Black Spot, it does lean into some folk horror bits, like the imagery of the body parts in the weird skin bags and the hood that fits over someone's eyes and all that sort of stuff. But then it blends it with the demonic and witch stuff. And I don't know what it is about witches, but I find they're probably, if there was going to be like a monster that would scare me more than others, it would be witches.
Yeah. What?
But I haven't seen anything this affecting in a long time. Like I said, like St. Maud really did spook me, and there's a couple of sort of links between this and St. Maud. But there's a couple of through lines that you can pull out and compare the two of them. Like just the idea, there's delusion, and it's the fact that you're not sure. And this is something that I'm discovering is really effective for me in horror, is whether or not you should be scared of someone or scared for them. And at the minute I was scared of and for Caroline, but I am fucking scared of Madame d'Ogeron as it stands.
I think the thing that I enjoyed about it the most is my classic unreliable narrator, because there isn't necessarily a narrator voice, but from the way it's filmed and especially like the quick cuts, I really like that, where it would just go and we're moving on. So you've got this visually tailored narration that I think will possibly try and like force you to like look at particular characters in a worse light. For all we know, the priest is a good guy. I mean, it's unlikely because he's part of the church, but
I mean, he's a Catholic priest, and I think if you've got a Catholic priest in something like this,
there's an exorcism coming.
There is definitely 100% an exorcism coming.
Maybe that's what was in.
And I fucking
Maybe
love
that's what
an
was in the
exorcism
past.
scene.
Maybe there was they tried to do an exorcism in the lighthouse.
An exorcism in the lighthouse on Emma, and that's why she can write such good horror films, because she fucking went for, oh mate, that's cool.
Maybe she was Marianne.
Here's something that I do question, and we will have an answer for this, I think, relatively soon. Is where its first episode was so affecting and so good and so well done, with one caveat which I will come to, which is something I really fucking hate about the show.
Is
sustain
episode
it?
2 going to be good?
Is it, yeah, like, is it, okay, you've got a brilliant opener, but actually it's not sustained. But I think more than any other show we've ever talked about in the 7 years we've been doing this, I really, really want to carry on watching. But at the same time, there is a huge part of me that does not want to keep watching this.
I wanted to carry on watching it as soon as I finished episode 1. Because I want
think,
to know answers.
I think if I like we said with Black Spot, if I'd watched this all in one day, I don't think it would have affected me quite as much.
It's the time to think, and
that's what really killed me. And something I was explaining to Lisa is that because I wear glasses, when I go to bed, obviously I take them off, and stuff in the dark when I was a kid looked like there was someone standing against the wall. Anyway,
shadows look like things, but if you take away the sharpness off them, it's worse.
It makes that blend that much easier. I think it's pareidolia, isn't it? Is seeing. The human brain is programmed to recognise faces even when there isn't any. That's why, like, you see Jesus on a crisp and that sort of thing. So when I'm lying there in the dark with my blurred vision anyway, it really doesn't take much. It can just take like one thing being out of place for me to be like, no, I'm really not comfortable now.
Yeah.
But I really cannot wait. I cannot wait to see where this goes.
I've got a question for you. That relates to both this show and the podcast. Do you think we should watch this an episode at a time, record us having a quick catch up about this, and we'll just throw it out as like a bonus episode? Us actually going through and watching every episode of this show, or until we both get sick of it.
That's actually a really good idea, because then that can I'd like that idea. I think we should,
because then it also forces us to we can essentially watch like one a week.
So basically what you're saying is for the next 8 weeks I'm going to have one night every week where I don't sleep.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, brilliant.
Choose wisely. So what did you hate about it? That
there is an element of this show that I cannot fucking stand, and every time it happened I was like, why have they done that? Why have they got such a perfect show and they have absolutely bollocksed it with this? Is the fucking transitions with the book pages flipping. It looks shite.
Here's a big thing for Netflix to fuck up.
Like, how did you get that so wrong? You've literally got a perfect TV episode.
Because it's weird, because they don't use them all the time. It's just occasionally, because most of their cuts are flash to white or flash to black, and it's like a very clean. I don't think there's even a wipe. I think it's just a. Whoomp.
There's a couple of fades, isn't there, when like characters fall asleep, I think. I'm looking at the poster for it, and it says in the top in French is the series that you don't want to watch on your own.
I survived.
Which is entirely what you did.
It is. Well, I had you for company for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to get through a lot of The Simpsons, I think, in the next 8 weeks.
Yeah.
The trouble is like, because I said it even in this episode, is that it's the fact that I had the gap in between to think about it, and now I'm gonna have a week to be fucking shit scared of this show.
Yeah, at some point in there, watch episode 2, because I don't know. I'm probably a weekend. I think maybe Friday. Yeah, Friday night after D&D, I'm gonna watch this, scare the shit out of myself, recover a bit on Saturday, or just drink.
That could be fun. We could set aside. Oh, that's what we do. We set aside a day, and we do it. We watch it. We do a watch party for the episodes, and then we record a podcast about it, have a drink, and then just keep going through the whole thing. I actually think that's going to be a wicked idea. What we'll do is after this, we'll sort out like logistics for that, because I've actually got a bit of time where we can. Do that.
Nice. Yeah, we can do that.
So, yeah, I genuinely think this might be the best pilot we've ever talked about.
It's weird. I would never have expected it to be a horror show, if I'm on it, because like we were chatting about it, it's a medium that doesn't suit a series.
Well, I mean, I think this might be proving that actually there is a space on TV for really good horror. In fact, having said that, horror doesn't do well in long form, think about Haunting of Hill House. That's incredible. That's one of the best shows I've ever watched. That's a 10 episode thing. Midnight Mass. I can't remember. Have you watched Midnight Mass?
Maybe.
Okay, that is.
Maybe it's not just. Maybe it's always been suited to it. We've just never done it well.
Yeah.
Like in a more general sense. Like I think there are probably we're probably wrong. It's probably been about for decades, but we just haven't been able to find them. Or maybe they get so drowned out by like Stephen King's Bag of Bones, and just like a short mini-series that just isn't very good, because they did a mini-series of It, didn't they?
Yeah, the original, the Tim Curry one was a mini-series, and Salem's Lot was a mini-series as well.
So maybe, I don't know, I mean I haven't seen them, so I wouldn't judge them, but Bag of Bones, lady who got hit by a bus deserved it. That's the only thing I can remember from that show. That, and he moves to a lake or something, I don't know. But
so I mean, it seems a bit silly asking you this, but are you going to watch more of this?
Well, I believe we've agreed to watch more of it together to support each other through this tough 8 hours. Well, 7 hours. We've only got 7 hours left.
You say that most. There are the episode lengths vary.
Yeah, so we've got 7 hours at most remaining. I might at some point pick up some more of Black Spot to see how it goes, but of these two, Marianne is a definite priority because my brain's got some questions that I need to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, wicked.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to go
so the other way.
It'll be a nice palate cleanser. Yeah. Maybe we can watch this in between episodes when it just gets a bit too much.
Yeah.
So we're doing. I've never seen Father Ted. I've not seen a single episode of Father Ted, so I'm looking forward to watching that. And we're genuinely, I've never seen Father Ted.
But it's brilliant. There's a clip I'm going to send you that sums up Father Ted.
Okay. And we're pairing that with Derry Girls, which I have seen.
See, I haven't seen Derry Girls.
And it's fucking brilliant.
But I just know that they're both set in Ireland. And as this is this foreign season...
I can't wait for episode 17 when you discuss how that's the foreign part of the season.
No, that's the palate cleanser. For all of the foreign.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'll ever get over this Marianne thing.
I hope not. But I hope it haunts you to your grave.
Thanks.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't hope it causes it.